Minds with my co-host, Nikki Lawley, and you have joined us once again Sunday night, 8 p.m., the WNY report, the Western New York report on cannabis. So, Nikki, what's going on this week?
Well, it's just been a lot of industry buzz around everywhere.
Yeah, we're buzzing about being buzzed.
They're buzzing about the Janet Moy report. That's a big piece of buzz. Then, of course, we have Biden making his official announcement of recommending rescheduling. And, so everybody's in a buzz about that. And let's see, in Western New York, we have companies like taking an interest
You had
in
the
the
Cannabis
area.
Insider, New York Cannabis Insider event. Tell us
Yes,
about that.
yes, that was
How
a
was
great
that?
event. Great event. I love New York Cannabis Insider. I
I'm
mean,
so sad I couldn't be there. I had something campaign related,
yeah,
like
you
direct.
did. You had
Oh,
some
no, I was doing
commitment.
yeah, it was a pretty big damn deal, but and it was good, but so many choices and so little
I
time. But
know.
the cannabis New York Cannabis Insider events. If anybody's listening to this, if you've never attended a New York Cannabis Insider event, next time there's one posted, and I think there's one coming up.
At Beacon Skiff.
Yeah, Beacon Skiff pretty soon, like early June, right?
June, I don't
We
remember
should
the
know
exact
these
date.
things.
I
We have
should,
we
especially
have
since I'm
devices.
promoting them, you
Yeah,
know.
we can look them up. I mean, really, and I would say New York Cannabis Insider has really been a framework for all of us, or maybe I should just make it all about me. For me, New York Cannabis Insider has really kept the pulse on what's going on in cannabis. And, there was a time when I was doing a regular column and I need to go back to doing a regular column. I want to do that. Let's talk tax. That was kind of where I left it before I got really super distracted with my campaign. And it all relates. And I guess if I were to write a Let's Talk Tax column right now, I would just caution everybody that even with Joe Biden, President of the United States, making the pronouncement that he did, 280E is still in effect. And so I know that I have some clients who are like, woohoo, we're home free, but hold the beer because it as we know more than most states, government processes take a long time. And every indication is that the Democrats, in particular, want this to go through as quickly as possible because they need the votes. And I think they also realize that it's just time. There's also the concern that if the Democrats are not restored, what's going to happen to these administrative agencies and these administrative processes. That's another subject altogether, because we may not have any of these agencies. That is the plan, according to what's called Project 2025, which you and I were talking about long documents to read. That's like 920 pages. That Project 2025 is a written document that describes how the Trump administration will dismantle our government agencies, and they go step by step through each agency, what they're going to do, and they're going to hire these people, and they're going to fire whoever is there right now. So I think one reason the Biden administration acted the way that they did was to, stick a pin in this marijuana moment and saying, we have been kicking this idea around for decades and it's time to act. And so I think it was absolutely the right thing to do. But back to my let's talk tax, it still isn't a done thing. Like if you were to file your tax return right now, first of all, you would be filing, this is 2024, and so you would be filing on revenues that you had in 2023 when 280E was still in effect. So don't go out and spend a bunch of money thinking that you're not going to have a tax bill. And of course, there are those people, you can do interesting things with your net operating loss and carry that forward. But let's say you had a $38,000 loss this year that you're going to carry over. You can't take all of that in 1 year. You can only take a portion of that. So it's still a game, and you're still going to need good accounting, and you're still going to need excellent tax representation. But there is some relief in sight. That was a very long tangent just to talk about New York Cannabis Insider and how much I love it.
Well, what I think I like most about New York Cannabis Insider is they really don't sugarcoat it. You know what I'm saying? They really are pretty vocal with their thoughts and like from both sides. I mean, I don't feel it's totally polarized pro or totally pro, polarized no. I feel like they try and give the OCM, respect and hear their opinion, but they also hear the opinion of the people who might not be buddy buddy so much with what's going on at the OCM. But New York Cannabis Insider really stays pretty neutral and allows them both to express their opinions, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And you don't see that very often.
No, you do not. And, you just watching Sunday morning news shows is like,
Oh, I don't do that.
yeah,
I'm in
smart,
politics.
wise.
I don't do that.
My husband like does that, and like he always wants to hear the other perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Although, and I'm like, I can't
Slippery
listen to
slope.
this. I can't listen.
Slippery slope, because I have a good friend that did that during COVID, and now she's sort of morphed, but we won't go there.
Right. Facts.
But
But
I feel like the other news this week with the Moy report, a lot of what I'm telling people is just be still for 2 weeks. Things are moving. Things are finally moving. People are getting messages. I need to go to my New York Business Express, and I have not gotten an email, but I do need to check my Business Express and see if there's anything on there that I need to check out. But things are moving, and we're very, very grateful that the governor has dispatched Ms. Moy to clean this up, and that the governor is also really interested in seeing licensed businesses open up. But I had a few very earnest clients call Monday morning and yell at people, and it's like, no, this is not the time to call them and yell at them.
no, not a good
First of
time.
all, first of all, we know that the OCM people don't get paid very much because we see the job postings. And so the poor little person answering the phone, whose name we hardly ever get, doesn't really make that much money to be yelled at by you. And you are not, I mean, you're special to me because you're my client, but you're not, in the grand scheme of OCM-ness, you're not that special to them. And so they're not going to remember that you've asked the same question 5 times, and now this report has come out, and now you need an answer, and it's Monday morning and you need an answer now. There's that expression that I don't often embrace, which is what is the expression? You can catch more flies with honey. Is that what it is?
Bees with honey, I think.
Bees. Okay. Some kind of flying projectile, not a brainworm. They said nothing about brainworms, but you can accomplish a lot more. Just first of all, at this
Be
moment,
nice.
with a complete upheaval of an agency, be still, be quiet, be calm. And, in 2 weeks, I'll be telling you something different. But for this week, I think let's give them some time. I'm sure they're very busy in meetings and very busy on email. And I'm picturing flow charts and organizational charts and whiteboards filled with to-do lists. And so let's just let them have their state agency bullet points.
Reboot. Yeah.
Reboot. And I guess the other thing to talk about, and we can, you know how we do, we sort of loop around and loop back and so forth. The other thing to talk about are the enforcement
Mm,
proceedings. And I noticed that our dear friend Bruce Sturman, who's been an advocate for the licensed shops, and you know, for a while, Bruce had that list going of every unlicensed shop in New York City. I don't know if you remember that. Does that ring a bell?
vaguely.
Yeah. And I'm going to move because this chair is uncomfortable. Um, and you know, Bruce posted something about there were 75 raids on shops in New York City, and I believe that that is true. Um, but also, Bruce was dismayed because he said, "Well, at this rate, it's going to take at least 38 weeks for them to work through the whole list of 2,800 shops." And so, of
Just
course,
in New York City.
I have that's just New York City, and I have much to say about that because, first of all, that's just Manhattan. That's not the whole city, as we
Oh,
all know.
wow.
I've been a long proponent that for us to, you know, it's like in AA, you have to admit the problem. You have to fully state the
Understand.
problem before you can do anything about it. And 2,800 is, I mean, maybe that's what's around Port Authority bus terminal, you know, but so 2,800 shops is what they're saying they have in New York City. And he's saying at that rate, at the rate of 75 per week, it will take 38 weeks to work through it. Well, bad news, Bruce, because they can't maintain 75 proceedings like this. When the officers go in, they don't go in one at a time. They go in usually with like 6 to 10 officers in these little bitty smoke shops. They clear it out. They, in many cases, they make arrests. It's usually not arresting the individual who was owner of the shop. It's usually the clerk, and then, you know, a lot. I don't know if you've ever gone into one of these shops, but usually the clerk has, you know, a buddy there that they're kind of shooting the breeze while they're working, and so that person also gets arrested in many cases. And I can't quite tell, like, I'll talk to 4 people and 3 will be, hello, Ruben. 3 will have had arrests and 1 will have not. Well, what was unique about the one? I don't know. I can't tell. Um, the the full scope of it is, at least in New York City, these are going through office, what do they call it? Office of Administrative Trials and Hearings, which is the same process. It's very much like an OCM hearing, but it's the same New York City process or hearing as if you either like had an unlicensed sale of cigarettes, or that your health department permit was out of date, or that you sold the wrong, you know, like you, if you sell a cigar at the wrong price, then you can, you know, there, because there are minimum prices at which you are supposed to sell cigars and cigarettes. And if you sell below that, then you get a violation and you have to go through one of these. So it's that same process. Also, if you have a vendor cart and you are in violation either of where you placed the cart or what you were selling or anything like that, same process. So I had a couple of other hearings this week that were not these cannabis raids. And guess what? They're backed up. They've always been backed up. And so you figure 75 raids a day. Um, they're not going to be able to do this. They're not going to have capacity to get through it all. So I don't know what the solution is. Ruben had previously talked about, he had checked in with law enforcement in his area, which is not in New York City, and it was unclear how they were going to proceed. So, and I keep trying to check the docket and find where these cases are posted not in New York City, you know, because I could, and that was true even for the other enforcement hearings where they were making, taking action against the landlord, so the immediate predecessor to this. So, lots still happening in the unlicensed world. I do think that a lot of guys are starting to reassess their career goals and um, and perhaps move on to they're either going to go back to what they were doing before, which was essentially delivery and operating out of their homes. But just imagine if you had paid. It's very reasonable in New York City to pay $3,000 a month for an apartment, um, or if you've bought an apartment, $1 million, $900,000. That's not at all unusual. And then on top of that, you're paying maintenance. Even if you've bought it, you're paying maintenance, which is the cost of like running the elevator and the common areas and stuff like that. And imagine if you're paying that kind of money and the city took action that directly resulted in the guy who owned the smoke shop downstairs locating his entire business next door to you. How would you feel? Share your feelings with us.
Well, it would suck. I mean, there's no good part of that scenario. I mean, at all.
For nobody.
Yeah, like who wins at
Nobody.
the end of the day? And I mean, then you got to try them in a court system that's backed up like nobody's business. And we've kind of gone backwards on that whole concept. Yet I totally get why we had to. But I mean, it's just a kind of a CF. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
There really
Yeah.
is no better initials.
I don't know. I do believe that we will reach a point at which we walk down a street and there will be um, one random smoke shop here or there, but nothing like what we see right now.
Like,
Ex-
I haven't been to Manhattan since this explosion of pot shops. I'm going to be there for CWBE Expo, June 5th and 6th.
I'm somewhere. I don't know where. I
Well, I
should.
hope you're in the city because we need to take a real good picture of the two of us for this damn show because
I mean, this isn't.
we
This
look like
is.
this. I mean, I'm literally like, my eyes look like you could blindfold me with dental floss and from the lighting, and then, I'm like, whatever.
My Asian heritage.
There you go. But my eyes is what I'm saying. So,
Well, maybe my. Never mind. Never mind. I'll
but
just.
yeah, just we'll stop.
Um.
But there's like the yacht party Tuesday night, or maybe it's the rooftop party Tuesday night. I don't know, but it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing. And then, I'm really looking to link up with the old growers, processors, and micros. So, what better place to do so than
Oh,
CWBE
that
Expo?
makes a lot of sense that you would be there this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
June 5th and 6th.
Yeah. It's
Some.
technically, I'll get there the 4th,
I
but
think I'm doing a parade somewhere. I don't know. I've done a lot.
well, make sure you don't got to be there for 3 days for some damn parade. Just show up for one day and then come
No,
back.
like several different parades. It's a busy campaign. I'll show up if I can. I need to get back to the city. I miss my city, but I'm
Well,
also.
you definitely need to get back to the city so we can promote your Collins for Congress shit. That's a big deal. And
And
like,
hang out. Yeah, and I am. What I really really appreciate about this campaign is I'm hearing from people outside of cannabis what their perceptions are about cannabis. Um, and like today I went to this Renaissance fair and I wasn't there in any official capacity. I was just working the crowd basically. And I had my bag, buy weed from women. And that always gets attention.
yeah,
It
it does. Buy
always
weed from women.
buy weed from women because it's, first of all, it's in huge letters. And so one guy in particular saw it and he said, I really like your bag. And
You got any weed?
give my palm card, which is the candidate card, and so we were talking, and he said, "Yeah, I'll vote for you. You're a cannabis attorney. I'll vote for you." And that's always
Well,
kind of,
tell all your friends, bro. You got to
yeah,
get
that's
your
what I'm
ass
saying.
out of the chair and
Go to
actually
my
move,
website.
move, move.
But the other interesting thing is the towns and cities were really counting on the 4% sales tax, and the fact that it's taken so long is it's getting them worried. And then the other thing is there are some towns like Watertown opted out. And so do they want back in? Because honestly, I've been going to Watertown on these two cases for since June of 2023. Actually, one case since 2023, and then now I've got another one there. But when I first rolled into Watertown, I thought, oh, that's why they moved this case here. There are no smoke shops. Guess what? Now on every corner there's a smoke shop.
No kidding.
Watertown, conservative Watertown, New York.
Well, it's because it's right next to the Canadian border. So all the Canadians want their weed and they can't bring it with them. So boom sleigh. There you go. You
Oh,
got
and
the Thousand Islands right there.
I never thought of that.
Well, because you were never a weed refugee in Canada, so you didn't think like I think.
Well,
So,
and I'm close where I am now. I'm close to Ogdensburg, and there's a
uh,
bridge to Ottawa from here, and so
yeah,
or a bridge to Canada, and then the closest town, and once you cross the border is Ottawa. So,
okay,
um, eventually, I'm going to have to make that leap. It's like I keep looking that way because it's just down the road from here.
right, right. Don't get confused though. We know people that have gotten confused going to Canada accidentally and
Well, and
didn't see those signs.
I won't carry excessive cash with me.
No, or herbs or anything like that. No vapes, nothing. Uh, yeah,
No vapes, right?
no vapes, none.
You remember a few weeks ago I was talking about my vape that my daughter
Yeah,
washed?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I revived it.
You
Boom,
did
slay.
not.
I revived it. I let it sit in a bag of rice for like a week, and then I recharged it, and there it goes.
Wow, Queen. You go.
I was
Snap,
upset
snap
because
the
it
rice
was
bag.
fairly new.
Yeah, I know. You were all pissed because you didn't want to go spend 40 more bucks.
No, this was expensive. This
No, it
was
wasn't more than 40? All
no,
right.
it was more than. Oh shoot! Hang on,
I'm hanging on,
hang on.
but I'm still
I'm
here.
sorry that I didn't turn off my ringer. Let me turn off my ringer. But yeah. So
Was that your booty call?
my boogie phone. Well, I do have.
No, booty call.
Oh no. Um. Okay. Um.
Distraction action.
Well, I put a burner app on my phone because I needed a 315 area code, and so now when the phone rings, if it's a 315 number that's coming in, or if it's coming in on that line, I've got to like tap twice to get to it. So it's kind of interesting.
This sounds very interesting. So you got a burner number. You go, girl.
Burner number.
Burner.
Yeah. You can have one that you keep, or you can have one that cycles so that every time you use it, it's a different number.
Oh, so it's like those ass bag telemarketers that I get all the time.
Mm. Google calls me all the time, Google marketing to confirm your website. And it's like, my website, you're Google. But it's really a ploy to get you on this marketing call.
Right.
And then,
You know my website,
yeah.
Google.
Right. And then when you schedule the marketing call, they want you to like do something for $368 a month.
Oh,
And it's,
sure.
no,
No
I'm not.
problem.
You're Google. Well, you're supposed to make my rankings higher. Um, Here's another interesting thing. I went on conservative talk radio this week in Watertown, by the way, and I'm going to be on again AM WATN AM radio in Watertown, 5 p.m. on Monday. I'll be there, but the Glenn Curry show, which is so fascinating because I'm like lunch for them. Like a Democrat, let's just slay her right here.
They're
But
up for
but
the
I
sacrifice.
what they don't,
Walk it
yeah,
in.
they do see it that way, but I fight back and I hold my own, and so, boom, slay. But
Facts.
I think it was there, or it may have been somebody else that I was talking to this week, and they were talking about, they're not in weed, they're not anywhere in cannabis, but they're in marketing and advertising. And what they really need, when we were talking about the rescheduling, is okay, so if I'm on an FCC regulated medium and they've rescheduled, can I now advertise? Because all of these companies are waiting for these ad dollars. So
Yeah.
we're on the inside in cannabis looking out saying, "Oh gosh, I wish we could have." Of course, now in New York everybody's doing whatever they want because of the lawsuit, but I wish I could have, well, like what happened to you with Facebook or with all of the other social media,
All of them.
all of them. Or, the could I, if I own a dispensary, could I take out a radio ad? The answer is no. But the people that are on the other side, like the station managers, cannot wait for some break in that so that they can then get the ad dollars.
Right.
So it's a win-win if we can get that redone.
Facts. Facts. I
But
mean,
but moving it to Schedule 3 is not gonna accomplish that, I don't
that
think.
is not.
I think that's gonna take a separate action by the FCC.
But check this out. The pharmaceutical places, they can put ads all over the TV
Oh my
with all
goodness.
these death notices, right?
Like, when I
So,
watch, yeah, like, Rachel Maddow, 9 p.m., right? All of these pharmaceutical ads, and, ask your doctor about blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
What do
you
you
can't
mean
even, you
ask
don't
my
even know what
doctor?
it is.
My doctor should know what I need. And then you're going to tell me that, the side effects are blah, 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 blah.
Anal seepage is my favorite. I want to run get that drug, please.
Yeah, right. But first ask your doctor.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be fun. Wow.
Right. So
So check this out.
look at you.
Love weed.
OUI apostrophe D. That's somebody's brand. Who is that?
It's Bristol Extracts, and they actually are catering to women and seniors. Um,
Yeah, doesn't it cause convulsions? I think it does.
I don't know. It's like a shitstorm. But on the Love Weed, we don't have that. And so, you know me, I'm being edibles, they don't really work for me. So I always like overtake whatever the recommended dose is. So I just ate 8 of them.
8.
Yeah, 8. This is pretty good. But I'm not a fan of the minty taste, like if it was cinnamon, which I have in the bag. I think I'll like those better. But they're very convenient, very cute little package.
So what are they, little, like,
They're
kind of
little
like Tic Tac
they're
size?
like not Tic Tacs, they're like a little they're like a
Oh,
little pill.
and do you chew it or you swallow it?
You suck it like a mint.
Oh,
You suck it. So it gives you good sucking breath, it gives you good breath.
okay. I'm really not going to go anywhere with that information. I'm really not.
I'm so sorry. Maybe my 8 is helping me. But um yeah, so they actually are catering to seniors. So like they have another brand called Senior Moments, and it's like low dose
Is that like
edibles
Pepsi, but in a weed edible?
in a gummy, yeah. And
Okay, so where are you getting these products? That's not a good angle because of the light.
who cares?
I feel like my face is huge.
Well,
Um,
my face is huge. Welcome to my club.
um,
Um,
so are these where?
these are in dispensaries.
Okay, that
Um,
was where I was going with it. They're in licensed
they're in
dispensaries.
licensed dispensaries. These are
Okay.
THC products in the adult use market. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's amazing when you get to try different products and you get to experience them. To be able to talk about them is like a really cool thing. Like I might have to every week kind of like bring a new brand online to just
I
talk
think that would,
about
I
the
think that
different
would
brands.
really interest our listeners, because first of all, most people don't have the budget to experiment, and secondly, um, the the proximity. Like I'm really appreciative. I'm in Canton, and the closest licensed dispensary is about, I think it's about 18 miles from me, and I'm not used to, I'm used to being in Manhattan.
Right, right. I
No,
hope they're giving you guys endorsement or
yeah,
sponsorship.
dream on, dream on. You could
Dream on.
be our manager. Um,
Yeah.
so today I was at this Renaissance fair in Holland Patent, New York, which is kind of near Utica, kind of near Rome. Um, so and it was very well attended, which is for that part of the world is kind of saying something. Um, and there were quite a number. I'm going to say 3 or 4 booths where people were selling tea that was made from mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
And I
That's a
thought,
thing.
and so I was asking them like, how did you prepare this? Oh, well, I get these nuts in the mail and then I grind them up and make this tea. Um, and I did eventually buy a bag just because I'm curious, but I'm also like going to call a friend before and after, like bookend it.
Yeah, right, right. Good
Because,
plan.
um,
It's sort
but
of like you need one of those tracking apps. Track the experience. Have a little GoPro going behind the scenes.
yeah, um, but I really do think, I was talking a moment ago about enforcement and the shops and everything. I, you know, the market is leading us there. Um, and there are so many people, so many lawyers really who during one of those injunctions, um, I, I think it must have been the second injunction. It's like the injunction came down, and within that week, you saw so many people, not just lawyers, other people as well, on LinkedIn. They changed their profile to cannabis and psychedelics.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I did
Like,
notice that. Yeah, yeah.
oh, and now let's pivot. But I do think that is the next thing, but I still don't know what that's going to look like. Is that always going to be clinical? Is the only license, like I don't ever envision adult use psychedelics. Like I don't envision a dispensary like what we've got with cannabis, but maybe I'm short-sighted. What do you think? Like, okay, and here's another question. Do you ever envision a time when our adult use cannabis shops, adult use cannabis retailers could also offer
Psychedelics.
mushrooms and other psychedelics?
So I think we're jumping the gun big time with the mushrooms because while there's studies on some, there's not on all. So, like Lion's Mane has had extensive studies for concussion patients, right? That's been a known beneficial kind of antioxidant, some, inflammatory, different things like that for Lion's Mane. But do I know how penis envy is going to affect me? No, no clue. And like that's really the name of a mushroom. I'm not
I
just
thought
putting
you were just like sharing with us your psychological.
no, no, for
Wow, did
real.
we really go there? We did.
But they look like little penises. It's kind of weird, but yeah, we'll just leave that alone. But then you have the psychedelic mushrooms that you got to be careful with that shit. I mean, for my concussion symptoms, I mean, MDMA, I would love to try, like in a trial, because I think that might really help me. I've tried little bits of it, and I think MDMA is basically just ecstasy, from what I understand. So, I mean, not that I'm promoting the use of ecstasy, anyone, but for therapeutic purposes, I've heard for TBI it's very effective. Um, I'm woefully anaphylactically allergic to any kind of fungi, so I really don't want to screw with the mushroom thing at
Yeah, that's
all.
what I worry about actually. And mushrooms are a lot less stable than, like as a substance. And, but because I was asking people, when did you like create this stuff? Because if it's 6 months old, I'm not sure it's stable.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly, I've never gone down that route. Like cannabis keeps me full time busy with all the research and all the different things going on with that. That, yes, I know this much about the psychedelic movement, but definitely would not consider myself even sort of an expert.
Yeah. So I'm going to pivot a little bit
Let's pivot.
the weed, back to the weed thing. Um, so I think it was Tom Spanos. Am I saying his last name correctly? I think I am.
Thanos, yeah.
Um, he was speculating online about the number of shops, and that even if we opened all of the people right now, that the demand in New York, if you look at the 20 million people, of course, not all of those are of age,
Right.
and then you add to it, like Western New York is going to have regular traffic to and from Canada.
Hmm.
Um, Parts of New York would have traffic to and from Pennsylvania, which is still not an adult use state.
Nope.
And then, of course, there's the Big Apple. And really, Hudson Valley also has quite a tourist business. Um, and going on even up into the Adirondacks
Lake
during certain
George.
seasons, although, that's changing rapidly because there isn't enough snow. Um, so they're like pivoting businesses to year-round leisure activities instead of just snow activities. But
You
so
can
there
see moose in Lake George.
you can see moose, yes.
You know me, polka dots, moose, and cannabis, my three favorite things. Boom, slay.
I never knew you had a thing for moose.
I'm over the top with my obsession with moose.
I
Between my
thought you had
cat,
a
my
thing for
dog,
buffalo.
my
Buffalo.
license plate is ILV Moose, Paula. That's my license plate.
How long have I known you, and I've never known this?
Oh, I mean, they're like my spirit animal. Like my entire office, my entire bedroom is like moose. Everything is moose.
There are signs near me that say be
Beware of moose. That's what got started it. I went to
cautious.
Quebec City and like there were beware of moose signs everywhere. So then I'm like, oh my God, did that just say beware of moose?
Beware moose. Yeah, they
Like a
will.
fucking moose?
It's
Like I
really
literally was like,
because
a
a lot of
moose?
times I'm coming back late at night and I have to, be cautious because the deer will come out.
Oh,
And
deer are nothing.
yeah,
These things tower over your SUV.
and they're slow.
Oh,
They're not
slow,
going to dart across the
clumsy.
road like the deer. Like
Yeah.
they'll just stand in the middle of the road and say, "I was here first."
You better make sure those brakes are working, pal. Moose mate. I mean, so I call everybody in Canada my moose mates.
Wow.
Like it's a
I'm
thing.
just learning so much about you.
See, every now and then, by us just having our one-on-one, we need this. We need
Yeah.
this like
So,
bond.
like when you order dessert, do you order mousse?
I'm
Oh,
not a chocolate moussey girl. I'm more of
yeah.
a.
You're like the spirit animal.
It's truly the spirit animal, and I think that because I've hit my head so many times, I look at my head as like antlers because it's so big. It just finds any
You got
kind of
so many monitors.
object. I do. I got like literal holes in my head. Like concave, kind of dense. Um,
So, how many shops do you think would be ideal in, say, what you're in Grand Island?
I'm on Grand Island, which is between Buffalo and Niagara Falls.
So, how many shops would be, in your opinion, appropriate?
Between Buffalo and Niagara Falls and Grand Island, or are we talking the whole Western New York area?
No, your little sphere, your little Grand Island area.
Okay, my little Grand Island is 7 miles long.
So, how many
So,
shops?
so like one would be fine. Like,
Okay.
I don't see why you need more.
All right. So now expand that to that whole area, Buffalo, Niagara
So
Falls.
go by county. If you think by county, it's more sensible because the counties, how you get your population estimates, you get kind of everything.
So like Erie County,
Erie County, I would say,
which by the way is its own congressional district.
oh, interesting. I would say, and again, like I've never done studies on this. I don't know what the real answer is. Like, so this is strictly my personal, just off the cuff opinion. But I feel like Erie County could easily sustain 50 to 75 stores.
Really? And do
Yeah,
you know what the population is? We have tools. We could look this up. What's the population of Erie County?
girl. I
Probably
literally just
right under
thinking,
a million.
right under a million? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I bet it's 779,000 because that's a congressional district.
Huh.
What is the moose population of Erie?
There's no moose in fucking Erie County. I can guarantee you that one. So I just went through all the counties and put how many processors are in each county and how many um, growers are in each county.
Okay. So Erie County has 950,000 people.
Look at you with your numbers. You go, girl.
Buffalo has 276,000 people. But Buffalo is kind of funny in that Buffalo itself is small, but all of the Buffalo area.
But I think they're talking Buffalo proper. But sometimes what happens is you'll have zip codes that like 14221 is really
Mhm.
Williamsville, but
Yeah,
they'll call it Buffalo.
right. Or Cheektowaga or all of that.
Yeah,
And
right,
like,
right. And they'll call that Buffalo too. It's kind
and
of
then
messed up.
they include Niagara County is another 210,000 people. I forget that Niagara County is separate from Erie County, even
Yeah,
though
totally.
it's like anyway. I mean, I think of that if we're talking about the WNY, the Western New York, I think of Niagara in it, even though it really is a separate county. So let's take Buffalo, 276,000 people, which, like you say, that's likely that is just Buffalo proper, not all of the
Not
outlying.
all of them, but it could
Yeah.
be.
But so you're thinking it could sustain 50 to 75 shops?
In Buffalo proper or Erie County?
Erie County.
Erie County. I mean, with a million people, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously not all in downtown Buffalo.
Oh,
Like spaced out, like
yeah, all those gazillion shopping centers and
I mean, maybe that is too high. Like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of homework on this or research on this, so um, I thought it was for every something. It was 10,000 or 20,000 people you could sustain in a dispensary.
I think that is I think that is the model. But
I mean, I'm not positive at all.
how
So
far
I'm
will
just
people drive for liquor?
yeah. Well, liquor's like on every street corner. That's not a good example.
But
It's harder to find cigarettes than it is liquor.
yeah, it is. Um,
Well, I mean, convenience stores have them, so not really.
well, there's liquor and then there's beer and wine.
Right. Big difference.
So, I mean, liquor stores you don't see as frequently as you see like unlicensed pot shops.
Yeah, facts. Facts on that.
And yet a liquor license is, to have a liquor store, your license is only about 4,000 a year. Or
Okay,
4,000
so
every 2 years, really.
Kings County, where's that?
That's Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. So you got 2,712 people in Brooklyn.
Hmm.
Um,
I realize there are countries that are smaller.
yeah. Uh, Queens is 2.3 million, really almost 2.4. Westchester County, that's almost a million.
And
So,
growing.
so I mean, like, I guess, I mean, the smartest thing you could do is look at the area and determine by county, by population. And again, you're going to have to take some of those numbers out, right? Like, so instead of it being 995,000 for Erie County, make it 900 and I don't know, 80,000. You know what I'm saying? Like those that are potential cannabis consumers, whatever. Um, but you've got to adjust it accordingly, I feel.
But then what about, okay, so like Nassau County, most of the towns opted out. So,
So Nassau County has 1.3 million.
yeah, but
But if they're opted out,
like there
so
are only three,
Hempstead opted out.
three little towns that allow it, and there's no real estate there. Like the zoning then prevents you from opening, even if the
Okay.
town said it was going to be okay. I think I think Long Island is going to have some real soul searching to do. Ruben could speak to that.
Long Island, what county is that?
Long Island has Suffolk County and Nassau County, and actually Kings County is really located there, but we
All
don't
right.
call it.
So Suffolk has 1.5. Kings County is huge.
Yeah. And
Kings
Suffolk
County
also
is like
has the native, the tribal dispensaries.
the Shinnecock.
Yeah.
And which county is that?
Suffolk.
Suffolk. Okay.
Where you wanted to go. Remember when you were saying, are you going to the
The
Hamptons?
Hamptons Cannabis
No,
Expo.
I'm not. I'm not going to drive that far.
Yeah,
You
when you said that, and then that made me think, well, shit, she's not going to drive that far. Why do I want to drive that far?
was, oh my God, I've been driving so much. I,
I'm just thinking, if you said what a drive, I'm thinking, did
well, the
Paula make
problem
that
with
drive?
going out from anywhere, like Long Island, it's just one road going out there, and when there's like an accident or construction or something, you can't do anything. You can't take a side street, you can't go around it, you can't do anything.
It's like
Helicopter.
freaking Toronto.
Yeah,
Toronto traffic's brutal.
yeah. And there are no moose to entertain you.
Not in Toronto,
Not in Toronto.
for sure not. But like, okay, in Orleans County, right? There's 40,000 people. All right.
Yeah, and
Like
there's
in Orleans
68,000
County,
cows.
like, yeah, I mean, that's probably a 1.5 dispensary, like maybe a delivery and a dispensary. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like,
but who's going to drive that far?
facts.
Who's going to drive across the county to get their licensed weed when the farm next door is growing it?
All right, good point. Good point. Yeah, Niagara County only has 212,000 people. But there's no weed dispensaries there except the tribal one. And I don't think that's licensed by New York State. Like it's Nativa. So I think they have their own licensing
Yeah,
system.
we've had that discussion. Okay, Ruben, ciao for now.
Ciao for now, pal.
Love you.
Great seeing you. Or texting you or whatever we want to call us. Um,
I don't know where all of this is going. I do think we're in a positive space compared to, say, where we were a month ago. Um,
but that doesn't change where we are. We love you too, Ruben. You're our most favorite dude. Yeah, hearts. See, now I want mine to do that
I
shit.
have no idea why mine does that.
Well, it pisses me off that mine doesn't. Damn it.
Never mind.
Shit. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel that people in the November queue, I feel like lots of calls are getting made to them or letters being sent saying, these were the people that had control of property and things like that. And I
Well,
think there's
but
going to
so
be
like
announcements made.
I applied in time for the November queue, but
Okay.
then they said, well, the type 3 processor isn't going to be in a queue because it's an unlimited number of licenses. But then they put me in the December queue.
I think this is why we have Janet Moy reviewing processes and procedures.
Yeah.
Because, like, that makes no sense. I'm just saying, why are you in the December queue if you should have been in the November queue, but you're not having a queue because it's on an unlimited number of
Yeah.
licenses? Listen
And,
to what you just said.
the truth of the matter is, I don't have a definite business plan with that license. It's just, first of all, I wanted to go through a license myself, just go through the process. But secondly, um, I thought, well, why the heck not? I mean, I could do white labeling.
Yeah, facts.
So, what I have been thinking a lot of this week is that book that I read some weeks ago, some months ago, Can Legal Weed Win? And I'm not 100% sure it can. Like, I'm not 100% sure. Let's take a hardware store. Let's say the family decided, we're going to have this hardware store. This is going to be our family business. Well, it takes a lot to make that successful.
You're fighting against Home Depot.
You're fighting against Home Depot. You're fighting against theft. You know, um,
Lowe's.
speaking of Brooklyn, there's this one little hardware store. Um, it's in downtown Brooklyn, and when you go in, they escort you around the store. That because they're so worried that people are just going to go in and, you know, start bagging up stuff that they need. So that's their security system. And it's like,
Wow.
and if you say, like, so you walk in and they say, "Oh, hello, how can we help you?" And if you say, "Well, I'm just browsing," they want to, like,
Browse with you.
browse with you, or they want to narrow down, well, what are you browsing for? That in other words, they don't want to waste too much time with you, but then they don't want you to just browse.
Wow.
So, um anyway, that was a big diversion, but can legal weed win? And the question is, with all these shops opening, then the next thing is going to be the mergers and acquisitions and the, you know
License consolidation.
license consolidation, and people deciding, you know what, I've had a good run, but I'm not profitable, and so I need to fold up,
Hmm.
which is very sad. And so what do people do after that?
Right. Right. I mean, and you've usually put your heart, soul, life, and everything on the line. So, like, when you decide to give up, it's sort of like, really, what do I do now?
You know what you do? You become a consultant.
Jesus, I hate that fucking word. I do.
No, I'm right.
There's so much bullshit consultantry.
But you know I'm right.
Dude, there are people that are charging $10,000 to just
10.
do
I've heard
nothing.
40,000 people paid consultants to get a New York license. And then they want to complain about a legal fee, and it's like, I'm not charging you 40,000, and yet you paid this other person who has no credential 40,000.
Wow, that's crazy, bro.
But
That's just crazy.
that's the world.
Well, it's sort of like, I feel like we're sort of a soap opera as New York turns, you know? As the world turns, as New York turns.
Yeah.
Because, like, every week it's sort of a new adventure. You never know what we're in for.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm all about progress. I'm all about, solutions to everything. But we need to put shit in reality and in perspective. Like, all these problems aren't going to be solved overnight. All these issues, it took us 3 years to get here. It's not going to take us a week to get out and have everything all fixed. So, again, it's having realistic expectations. And like you said, when your dude's calling the poor girl at the OCM who makes, $17 an hour, and, he rips her a new ass and she can't fix the problem. She doesn't even know what the problem is. Like, how did that help the situation? And I get you're frustrated. I get everyone's frustrated, but give people some grace, man. Give them some kindness. Like, is it going to kill you? No, and you'll probably feel better that you weren't an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, stop ruining people's day because you're having a shitty day. Like, suck it up, Buttercup, and let's, be kind. It's really, really easy. It's a lot easier to be nice than it is to be mean, in my opinion.
I don't know. I'm getting pretty good at being mean.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm direct. I think I'm getting better at my directness. Like, don't bullshit me. Like, I did have a brain injury, but I'm not stupid. So, like, let's be realistic. And so, I mean, I've gotten that kind of down, but mean is really hard for me, unless it's to my son. That's sometimes I'm a little mean
That's another subject altogether.
altogether.
Hug your kids.
Hug them, love them. No one's perfect in this world. No one's going to be perfect. And you know what? That's okay. We can agree to disagree. We can be Democrats and Republicans in the same room. We don't have to hate each other just because we don't see eye to eye. We're much stronger together as a united force than we are each on our own little island, trying to do our own little thing, being our own little people, and like being clicky. Screw the click. Let's really. I could have said something so inappropriate.
I
Screw
I was hearing it. I was hearing it. I connected those dots.
Screw the click, but connect the dots. Yeah, let's do that. Um,
And find your spirit animal.
yes, find your spirit animal. And I know today was kind of casual, kind of non confrontational, but we hope you guys got something out of it. We will be back next week, and I'm sure we're going to have a special guest.
Here's what I'd like to hear from the listeners. How many
Listeners,
shops do you think is appropriate for your area?
put your county and then put your shop number,
Yeah.
like the name of your
I like
county.
the how many jelly beans are in the jar.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah. Like, you don't got to know your county number. I got that detail. Just tell me your county. I'm in Washington County, and I think we should have 30 stores. That's all you got to do.
St. Lawrence County, New York. How many stores?
Yeah. Let's get that opinion out there. We might have to actually do a follow-up post. How
Yeah,
many stores do you think should be in your area? What
I like
county are
that.
you in? and we'll go from there. Boom sleigh.
Boom sleigh.
So
Well,
we have a course of action. We have
it's
what do
like
we call that?
homework.
Call to action.
Yeah. CTA.
Yeah. CTA from the WNY report. Boom.
Boom. It's been good to see everybody. It's been good to see you, Nikki, and we'll be
Always
back
good
next
to see
week.
you. See you guys next week, 8 o'clock. Same place, same channel, same time. Have a good night, everyone.